Hey guys, so I wanted to do something a little special for Halloween, which happens to be my favorite holiday. First off, we've gotten a lot of new subscribers lately to the channel, and I just want to thank everyone for their comments and just for simply checking out my channel. It honestly means a lot. Anyways, we were blessed with two indie gems in the exploding horror game scene recently that I'd like to talk about and maybe give you something to satisfy that craving until Callisto Protocol comes out in December, which, by the way, looks fucking amazing. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the trailers and stuff. I'm doing my best to stay blind like I do with anything I play, but from the little bit of footage and screenshots I've seen, Callisto Protocol is going to be an absolute banger title to end the year with. Anyways, like I said, I've got two games I want to talk about with you guys. Both of them I beat within the last 24 hours, and already, based off coverage I've seen, these titles are mad slept on, man. And I'm hoping that we can fix that. If you like what you see here today, drop a like and comment, and of course, subscribing is amazing. Let's get to it. So the first title that I want to talk about is Signalis, and by the way, shout out to Adam Ninja's YouTube channel. I left a link in the description for his channel because his videos helped me get past quite a few of the tougher puzzles. Now, there's a little debate on what constitutes a horror game. Some people think it's games that legitimately cause fear in you, and others think it's anything that uses elements of the genre. I consider myself in the latter. I'm pretty easygoing with my definition. All that to say that Signalis is not the type of game that has you clutching at your blankets at night. But the general themes, aesthetic, and tense atmosphere prove that Rose Engine Game is in a league of their own in their survival horror genre. This is a love letter through and through to the games that define this niche, and of course I'm talking about Resident Evil and Silent Hill. In fact, playing Signalis made me realize how far we've strayed from the survival horror of the past, and not all in good ways. Now, before Signalis, Moonscars, another game coincidentally published by Humble Games as well, is what I would have voted to be my favorite indie game of the year. But after some thought and a little time to digest the full package, Signalis is currently holding that crown. This game is polished, it's thought out, the puzzles are varied and inventive, the combat is there. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but every trope you can expect in this category of game is absolutely nailed and then elevated to its own level. With the stellar one-of-a-kind aesthetic and sound design that you can't find anywhere else in the market, this is pixel perfection, guys, and from beginning to end, it did not disappoint. And any game that actually has me writing out clues on a piece of paper is an automatic win. Now, if you've watched my videos before, I'm not a huge story guy, but the story here of you playing as Elster, a technician replica, searching for her lost dreams was so captivating, even though I personally had no idea what the fuck the ending was about. This type of abstract and nuanced storytelling that Rose Engine has on display here is what I live for. It's just weird enough to make you go, let me go see if someone else made lore videos on YouTube in the same way Dark Souls does. Now, I always like to give my feedback in case the developers are listening as well. In terms of negative, I do think that the 6-item inventory was just a little too restrictive in the way of enjoyment. Also, the final segment of the game was made unnecessarily frustrating due to the lack of map in a way that mainly just felt like it was an attempt to pad out time as opposed to feeling like a natural evolution in the game. And my last gripe, and I know this is a stupid one, but I fucking hate when developers make cryptic ass trophies or achievements. Like, I can't find shit on this game and I so badly want to 100% complete it, but I am not about to just guess what the requirements are. I've got way too many other games to play. Anyways, this game is near perfection and in my opinion is a must play, especially if you're a fan of the genre. I'm giving Signalis a 9 out of 10. If you by any chance got to play Signalis on Game Pass or you supported the devs and purchased, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. By the way, once you're done with the game, make sure to choose manual from the title screen. There's a second story that's really badass. You get kind of more beefed up main character. I'm not going to spoil it, but definitely worth checking out. The next game I want to talk about is Saturnalia. Now, this game's going to be a little bit of a harder sell because this one's only going to appeal to a very small amount of people. But I just completed the game with near full completion and I'm absolutely in love with this weird ass game. So, Saturnalia is a game by developer Ragione, and I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but basically this is a game inspired by the folklore in Sardinia, Italy, where you play as 4 characters connected to the small mining town there to investigate for their own little reasons that you slowly figure out as the game goes. Unfortunately for you and your 4 protagonists, the town is in the middle of a deeply rooted deadly ritual that you are now smack dab in the middle of. And you can either escape, which is a task in its own right, or you can finish what you came there for and then escape. And this is where the game excels because you're not forced to tie up these loose ends, but the writing is so fucking good, why wouldn't you? There's 0 voice acting, but somehow with how good this dialogue is from beginning to end, I swear I know how Claudia and Sergio's voice sounds. You can't tell me that's not good writing. The best way for me to describe this game is art house horror. And I know I'm going to get a lot of eyebrow raises here, but if I were to do my best to pin down this game in terms of describing what the experience is like, it feels like a mix of a Telltale game when Telltale Games was good and Returnal, which is a wild comparison, I know, but hear me out. So, let's tackle the difficult comparison first. Now, one of my favorite parts of Returnal was that on every run, in terms of my ambitions, it was never the same. Sometimes I'd be chasing resources, artifacts, codexes, or of course there was the attempt for a boss. In a similar fashion, because Saturnalia is in fact a roguelite as well, every run I attempted has its own ambitions. Whether it was waking Sergio up from his morphine-induced sleep, or figuring out where to get a coin to go through Lover's Lane so I could unlock the castle, each attempt felt unique and fresh and purposeful in terms of writing. The reason I compare it to Telltale is because the writing felt so grounded and individualistic. Every piece of dialogue truly felt like the person it came from. And even though there's some heavier themes like racism and homosexuality that get touched on, it was never at the cost of the audience member, because it didn't feel forced. It felt like the true thoughts of the members of this secluded mining town. I could honestly go on forever talking about this game's story, but this is something you would have to discover for yourself. So I'm going to pivot into why this game, and call me a pussy if you want, did have me clutching my blanket at night. This atmosphere is so fucking tense. It literally has a vice grip on you from the moment you enter the town. It's dark as fuck, and the only reprieve from that are your matches, which last like 15 seconds. And then the rattle that you hear when the creature is nearby as it's patrolling the streets is fucking terrifying. And how it crawls on all 4 sometimes, like, bro, this shit is straight from a nightmare. And the whole cel-shaded, hand-drawn, one-color aesthetic, which I've never seen in any video game before, fits perfectly into this fucked up fever dream. In terms of negative and why I'm going to give the game the score I'm going to, the frame rate at times is pretty terrible. And also the camera jankiness needs to be fixed. Also, in my opinion, the clue board is a mess. I think it could have been handled much better. It's very unwieldy once you get towards the end of the game. In fact, it's the reason I haven't completed Sergio's, because at this point, I have no clue where to go. Anyways, in my opinion, the game's an 8.5, but I can't stress this enough. If this game at all appeals to you, this is a must buy. And if you play on PC, it's actually free on Epic Games, so do yourself a favor and support these devs. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the content today. Happy Halloween, stay safe out there. If you have any games you want me to talk about, feel free to drop a suggestion. Oh, and go watch Terrifier 2 for me, since my theater's not showing it. Later, y'all.